Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be taking a part in the Friday Night at Magic event, which is going to be Historic, so we're just going to be playing Historic today. That's all it really is. You can play Historic any other day of the week now that Wizards have fixed their game and given dailies for Historic and ranked queues and whatnot, but that's another entirely different rant. But yeah, today we're going to be playing with Grixis Dagrons. For those who might be looking at this and thinking, that's not much of a Dragon Tribal deck, you're absolutely correct. It's kind of like a Grixis control deck with a Dragon sub-theme to it. So as far as the Dragons are concerned, we have these 9 right here. Nicol Bolas, the Ravager. This is the reason, basically, why I wanted to play with this deck. Nicol Bolas the Ravager is a 4-mana 4/4 in Grixis colours. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card, and then you may pay 7 with Grixis colours to exile Nicol Bolas and return him to the battlefield transformed as Nicol Bolas the Arisen. I haven't played with this card in a long time, and I'm just trying to play him the best as I can because I really want to play the Planeswalker side of this card, so hopefully we get to do that today. But yeah, his Planeswalker side allows him to draw 2 cards on a tick up by 2, which is insane. The -3 is absolutely solid removal. I'm pretty sure nothing really at the moment survives that. Short of, I guess, maybe a Beanstalk Giant or something, but it's probably not an issue, judging by the rest of the deck. The -4 allows us to put a creature or Planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under our control, so we can steal one of our opponent's Planeswalkers or creatures, which usually the power level of those is pretty damn high at the moment. But we also, obviously, can bring back our own stuff. We can chain it with a Bladewing the Arisen, but we'll get to that in a second. The -12 says, exile all but the bottom card of target player's library. I've actually won the game through that -12 in a really weird fashion. I think I was playing at the time, I think it was is it called Sanguine Sacrament? Yeah, Sanguine Sacrament. Double white X, you gain twice X life and put it at the bottom of its owner's library. So this was the last card at the bottom of my deck, and my opponent was quickly milling themselves with that +2 to get to the -12, and this was basically their only win con. So every single turn, all I would do is top deck this Sacrament, gain twice X life and put it at the bottom, and yeah, just do that every single turn. I had too much life, they decked themselves, I won. It was a weird one, but that's kind of off topic and probably will never happen ever again in the history of Magic, but I felt very happy with myself for doing that. But yes, moving on. Other than Nicol Bolas, we've got Niv Mizzet Payroon, 3 blue, 3 red for a 5/5 with flying. This spell cannot be countered, and whenever you draw a card, Niv Mizzet Payroon deals 1 damage to any target. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. Well, it really shouldn't say instant spell, because they don't exist. But whenever a player casts a sorcery spell, thanks to Fairy, you draw a card. Yeah, I would say that these 3 here, and more specifically just these 2, Niv Mizzet and Nicol Bolas, are really the only good dragons at the moment. Some of them just don't quite do enough. If we go to like type equals dragon, we can walk through that kind of thing. I mean, Little Off Color has no real artifact synergy. Obviously, not that great. Opportunistic Dragon, not much of an opportunity. Verix Bladewing has to be like 7 mana to be good, otherwise there's not much point playing it. Demanding Dragon, it's just, yeah, there's too much going wide going on at the moment. They'll just get rid of a token. If it's like Red-Black Sacrifice, cat combo, just get rid of the cat, easy enough. Hellkites, meh. Lathless, way too slow, and needs another dragon for it to be good. Drakaseth is also a consideration, and the real reason why I'm not running Drakaseth is mostly because Sarkhan on turn 4 can only cast 6 drops with his +1. You may be looking at this and thinking, oh, that's a 7-drop. Yeah, and that's why it's a 1-of. But yeah, that's why I'm not running Drakaseth, and same thing kind of goes for Terra. The rest of them just don't do quite enough, I would say, and some of them are a little bit too off-color, to the point where I can't really splash the mana, and outside of like Dragon Sword and Sarkhan's Fireblood, that's the only real way to cast them. But yeah, anyway, Bladewing the Arisen, as we were talking. This is a card that you can actually dump with Sarkhan's Mutt +1, and if you get to like the Nicol Bolas reanimation, you can chain that together, so Bladewing the Arisen can reanimate a dragon permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield, getting back either a Niv Mizzet or a Nicol Bolas that's either died or been discarded with Sarkhan Firebloods +1. The real reason why this deck works is for this card alone. So I've played in the past a few dragon decks, one of them actually being like a turn 4 Niv Mizzet control deck. So the idea is you get Sarkhan down on turn 3, you loot or add mana, whatever you choose to do anyway, and then on turn 4, as long as you've got 1 blue mana, you can use Sarkhan's add 2 mana ability to pay the cost of the rest of Niv Mizzet, and it's extremely easy to get this card out if you have a Sarkhan Fireblood in play. We do obviously have plenty of Sulphur Falls and Steam Vents and Watery Graves to make sure that we can cast Niv Mizzet at least somewhat reliably, but for the most part he's coming down with the Sarkhan Fireblood or getting looted with him. Also have the Dragon's Horde as well, a 3 mana rock that adds 1 mana of any colour, so yet again that's another blue source for Niv Mizzet Payroom. And it says whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control you get to draw a card, so it makes these guys a little bit more advantageous, bit of card advantage. A 4 mana discard draw is pretty good, for example. There are a few meme cards in here, because it would not be a Mad Lad deck without a couple of meme cards that you probably shouldn't be running. One of those being Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, a 5 mana legendary sorcery. Running this mostly because every single permanent that we put into play is a legendary, so I rarely feel like I can get away with running this card, to be honest. 5 mana, you can only cast this if you have a legendary planeswalker or creature in play, and you get to put up to 1 target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and then you get to destroy a target creature or planeswalker. So we can return our Bladewing to chain it into returning a Niv Mizzet or a Nicol Bolas. We can return one of our opponent's planeswalkers as well, so we can get their Nissa Who Shakes the World or whatever if we really want to. The options are available there, but it's only a one of, again, because it's mega janky. We got a Spit Flame, which is a Dragon's Matter kind of removal spell. 3 mana instant, deal 4 damage to a creature. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay red. If you do, return Spit Flame from your graveyard to your hand. So it's something that we can discard with the +1 on Sarkhan there. And then the turn after, if we've got like Nicol Bolas in hand, we can use the add mana, spend that on Nicol Bolas, have some red mana left over, and we've got this repeatable burn spell. Only one copy though, because it only deals damage to creatures, and there are a fair few creatures in Historic right now that don't die to 4 damage burn spells, which is absolutely absurd, but that's the world we live in. For those creatures, we have Cast Downs, and we have Heartless Acts. Heartless Acts destroying creatures with no counters on them, and they can also remove counters, should it matter. Cast Down for those creatures that have counters on them, but this one has a downside of non-legendary, but 2 instant speed, 2 mana removal spells is pretty solid. We've got some shocks in here as well. They go really well with Niv Mizzet Payroom, because the cards that we cast will also draw us cards. We got the Eat to Extinction to deal with planeswalkers and whatnot as well. And then finally, we got a couple of board wipes in here. Cry the Carnarium and Ritual of Sut to deal with the mono-red decks. In the case of Cry the Carnarium, kind of the sacrifice decks built around cat combo. Because one of the important things about Cry the Carnarium is that it says if a creature would die this turn, exile it instead. So the creature doesn't have to specifically die to Cry of the Carnarium. It could have died in any way. So if our opponent has a Cauldron Familiar and we cast Cry the Carnarium, in response they can do their cat combo stuff. And if they leave it in the graveyard to try and save it from Cry by not understanding how this card works, then they actually exile that card out of the graveyard so we can get that value. But other than that, like Ritual of Sut is mostly for like Pridemate decks as well, since Cry the Carnarium doesn't really hit Pridemates very well, and neither does Heartless Act. It's one of the reasons why we're running Cast Down. And finally, we've got Croxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, a 2 mana 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless it escaped. You can escape it for 2 black, 2 red by exiling 5 other cards from your graveyard, which we will be looting constantly with Sarkhan, hopefully, to fill that graveyard up, as well as using removal spells, filling the graveyard that way as well. And when it attacks or enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card, and then if they discarded a non-land card, nothing happens. Anything else, they lose 3 life. So it's a 2 mana 6/6 later down the line, which is solid. So just felt like a really nice piece that's not a dragon, that felt like it fit into the deck. This has been a very, very long deck tech, so I'm probably going to slap a timestamp on somewhere. But if you have enjoyed watching the deck tech, I do appreciate it if you do hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. We're going to be taking this into the Friday night event and seeing how we get along. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. God, I wish they'd fix that loading screen. Alright, so we're in, and... ugh. It sounds not good. Like, at all. It's kind of got some early game going for it, I suppose, but after that, we don't do anything. So I'm just going to take the mull. And yeah, this one looks a little bit better. Let's go with... So this is a tough one because we've got a lot of colour requirements here. We need the double red for Sarkhan, which kind of encourages me to go get the red here, but we also need some blue here for Niv Mizzet. We can actually use Sarkhan to make the other double blue for the steam vents. Which one's going to be better as well? If Sarkhan lives and gets down without dying, then he can play Niv Mizzet. That is a tough one. I definitely want some removal. It's probably safer to go for the bolus. In case Sarkhan actually dies, we have the ability to at least play something on turn 4. Temple of Malice. I mean, they're both probably going to get like immediate trade-off value, which is why I'm using Nicol Bolas and Niv Mizzet as they are. Nicol Bolas has that discard. Niv Mizzet tends to... Oh, okay, fair enough. Niv Mizzet tends to get killed with instants and sorceries and draw me a card. So, yeah, this one just kind of has more likelihood of being useful. Let's just go with a Shockland and pass the turn. Not delay any longer. I'll grab a red source so we can play Sarkhan. So it's... Ooh. Punisher Burn, maybe? Using a red-black burn deck. Can't remember the name of the... Sword Point Diplomacy. That's the one. Alright. And... yeah, let's get Sarkhan down, I suppose. Start drawing and discarding. Or discarding and drawing. We do want the Blood Crypt, so I'm going to get rid of a Cast Down. Get another Nicky B. Okay. So Sarkhan's probably dead, but we can still play Nicky B with this hand, which is just fine by me. And then if Nicky B dies, we'll play the other Nicky B. So the legendary rule, not really going to be much of a downside, I would imagine. Yeah, we just absorbed 5 points of damage. We are going to take... Oh, no, we're not! Haha! Better lucky than good. I was going to say we're going to take 2 damage doing that, but apparently not. Alright, so yeah, it does look like it's Punisher Burn, so they're using like risk factors and sword point diplomacies to essentially punish me, as it were. Let's go with Nicol Bolas and Blood Crypt. Got to keep some removal on me, I think. Oh, come on. Please, stop it. Stop being you. Alright, well, I think I'm just going to get in with Nicky B. We'll just cast down, I guess. There's a chance that they just go Carnage and make me discard all my cards anyway. So I'm probably going to be doing exactly that. And we'll get rid of that card we're not really using. And play a card we don't really have much use for. So Nicol Bolas flips at 7. What do I really want to find here? Sarkhan Fireblood's okay, but probably dies. Vicious Rumors. Oh, you put Croxer in my bin. Nice. Goes very well with all the discard. And we have ways of actually casting Croxer here, so I'm pretty happy with that. Cry of the Carnarium. Not too bad. So we're going to get him for 4. We're going to play Croxer. Probably should live through it. We want to keep creatures in the yard because of both Yawgmoth's Vile Offering and Bladewing, so we've still got a Nicol Bolas in there. And we got Sarkhan. So, make them discard. If they discard a land or nothing, they lose 3. So, skewer the critics going there. Footlight Fiend, sure. And Flame of Keld, alright. I'd say the clock is on, but it's not really, to be honest. Let's Spit Flame. No, we don't really need to Spit Flame. Let's get in for all of this damage. They're forced to block, essentially, so... I could go for a Cry the Carnarium, but then I'm dealing a little bit less damage. I think I'd rather do this, use the Spit Flame on the Pyromancer, so that they're not really going to be dealing damage next turn. We'll do it now, I suppose. Since they might have Wizard's Lightning, and don't really want to give them cost reduction for that 3-card hand. And yeah, they need to kill both of our creatures or kill us, so can you do it? Sovereign's Bite. Ooh, they gained a little bit of life. Light up the stage, and they need to deal 5 damage with 1, maybe 2 mana. I think they haven't played their land drop this turn, so... Sweet. That's a very old school burn deck from them. But yeah, we managed to outrace it, I guess. Alright, next game. Okay then, we're in, and I think this sounds perfectly fine. Our opponent's playing Luros. Post companion change, by the way, so it's going to take them 3 mana to put it in their hand, so... Yeah, this is probably like a red-black sacrifice list, and in which case, I mean, all of this looks good, so I'm going to keep it. We can cast Sarkhan, we can dig. Opponent is playing what looks to be red-black sacrifice. Okay, well, yeah, Blood Crypt go. I'm not going to shock the Cauldron Familiar. So yeah, the new companion change means that instead of just being able to cast this for 3 mana straight out of the companion zone, you now have to pay 3 mana to put it into your hand at sorcery speed, and then you get to cast it. So Luros is 6 mana and open to hand disruption, which I think is pretty cool. Alright, with Dreadhorde Butcher, I think that just needs to go. Can't let that go any bigger, so... Let's just remove that boy. Play our tap land, say go. We're at 15. I really can't be having more Dreadhorde Butcher related cards coming down, to be honest. And we're putting Luros into their hand. So Cry of the Carnarium is going to be real good. Really, really good. Okay, so they're going to play Luros next turn. So I'm going to play Sarkhan. And I think I'm just trashing Croxer. Since we can just cast him from the graveyard anyway, it's like a free redraw. Okay. Okay. So, maybe 1-drop plus Luros. Tap land plus Luros. Okay, well, I'm going to Cry the Carnarium the crap out of that card. And we're going to see what happens. Go on, you can do it. You can do it. You can lose value. So, this is why kind of most people think, and myself included, a lot of the companions are dead now, which is fine. They had their time in the sun, and now they're dead. Witch's Oven. I think we want guaranteed value on Luros. Smart. I will get rid of the cast down, I think. It just takes way too much to enable these companions now, especially like the low mana cost ones that are only really good because you can get them out as early as you do. So there is a fun thing with Cauldron Familiar and Cry the Carnarium. It does say if a creature would die this turn, you exile it instead. So if we played Cry the Carnarium with our opponent doing cat combo stuff, when they sacrifice it to Witch's Oven, it'll go into exile instead. But I do want a little bit more value on my Cry the Carnarium, because I think I'm getting Luros plus Dreadhorde Butcher at this point, which means Crocs is staying out of that graveyard forever. Let's just draw and discard. We'll get rid of the basic mountain, since we've got the Dragonskull Summit. Eat to Extinction, also very good. Alright, so they'll do their cat combo in. I'm going to let this particular bit happen. So, sack it. 10 minutes later, they bring it back. Gonna do it right now. Risky. It's a little risky, but it's not going to matter, to be honest. So I could kill it right now, as an example. They need, like, land, then Dreadhorde Butcher, but as I mentioned, like, I'm getting a 3 for 1 on the Cry of the Carnarium at this rate. So hopefully they go land, Butcher, get in with Familiar, and Sarkhan takes a little bit of a beating. Just another cat. Okay. Well, that's also fine. I think they probably are playing around what I'm doing right now. But I guess I've got the removal for it. There's Priest. Yeah, I'm just going to get my 3 for 1. Okay. Cool. So, pass the turn. Dragon's Horde. Let's tick up with Sarkhan. I think we're dumping Dragon's Horde. It is card advantage, but we kind of got that with Sarkhan, and we're closing in on that ult as well, which is kind of funny. It's probably not going to happen, though, realistically. So yeah, let's get rid of Dragon's Horde, get a Heartless Act. Okay, it's not bad. And then Cry the Carnarium. So they'll sack a Familiar, bring it back, and then it'll all get exiled. Or they'll leave it in the graveyard thinking that it won't actually do its thing. Ooh, okay. Is that the Priest of Forgotten Gods? Interesting. Well, here's Lurrus, which we can Heartless Act. We can cast down the Dreadhorde Butcher. Going after me. Another Heartless Act. So, Sarkhan's close to the ult. We can bring back Croxer, but I think this turn we're going to get rid of the board. So, let's discard.
Don't doubt my methods.
Probably the Eat to Extinction. Good call. Thanks, me. Yeah, let's just see if they send it at my face or not. I'm gonna sack it for food. Cool. Yeah, they did send it at my face. Destroy a creature with no counters on it. And now they've sent that at my face. It means that Sarkhan is going to make 4 5/5s next turn, unless they can shock or haste into my Sarkhan. There's a Croxer. We'll get rid of Cast Down. They've got a lot of legendaries in their deck, weirdly enough. Same thing sort of for the Dreadhorde Butcher, so the Heartless Act is also a little weird, but it's 2 damage to each opponent. It's not going to do much good when I do this. And from there, what do we want to do? I think I'll just leave my removal open, to be honest, rather than play Croxer. Because I can remove something here, and now they've actually just presented lethal for me, so that's okay. Take 1. Unless they can gain some life, which Serrated Scorpion can do to a certain extent, but yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. If they'd have sent the Dreadhorde Butcher at Sarkhan, they would have lived a little bit longer, though of course we would probably be still digging towards the ult and have Croxer attacking instead, pinging them and stopping them from having card advantage, while also removing all of their stuff as well. Yeah, it was more of a timing situation with Dreadhorde Butcher. I think if we'd have threatened this differently, if we'd have like killed Lurrus and actually shown them that they weren't getting this back, they might have sent it towards Sarkhan instead to go for the long game, but they chose to go for the short game, and we managed to punish them for that, so that's pretty cool. All right, I think that's the 2 wins now. Pretty sweet. Alright, does the tale of the red-black deck continue? This hand is actually pretty decent. We've got a turn 2 Croxer, turn 3 Dragon's Horde, which gives us a little bit of blue towards the Niv Mizzet. We are going to probably need Sarkhan Fireblood to finish off the blue requirement for this card, but other than that though, quite like this hand. Early game removal, a little bit of disruption. Opponent with the graveyard sleeves and green mana, so it could be Golgari, we'll see. Always bolt the bird, especially in Historic. Goodbye, Gilded Goose. Alright, so this could be the Simic ramp deck. Similar, if not identical, to the one that we played earlier. Probably not identical. I jankified my version. With the Wake Root Elemental. Though, to be fair, that Wake Root Elemental is surprisingly efficient. So we actually have turn 4 Niv Mizzet, which is not too bad. There's actually a fair bit of pressure. We've got answers to a Nissa if that's going to be there. It might be my deck. Oh my god. Growing Rights of Itlamok. Show me a Wake Root Elemental. Do it. If I'm going to lose to anything, it's my own list. Alright. Sarkhan. We will discard just to fill up for Croxer. I think it's going to be Heartless Act, to be honest. And a Castle Locthwain. Alright, so I actually do need a blue land. A blue land here. Good stuff. Alright, add 2 blue. Play Niv Mizzet, Peyrune. So I get to start shooting off little mana dorks here and there. We'll see if we get to do that. Instants and sorceries will draw me cards. There's a Nissa. Got the Eat to Extinction for that. I actually can kill their lands with Niv Mizzet as well. And kill Nissa at the same time, so we've got a really good thing going for us here. Growing Rights of Itlamok is going to flip. So I'm going to hit the forest. Because when I Eat to Extinction Nissa, I'm going to draw a card. Yeah, it still adds 5. So I really just don't want them to find a big boy, is really the reality of this situation. I'm going to hit them for 1 there as well, killing that forest, kill the Nissa. And then we're going to discard with Sarkhan as well. Land into the graveyard. Going to discard probably the Mountain, to be honest, because the Spitflame actually can kill Incubation Druid alongside the Niv Mizzet. And the Cast Down can kill some creatures as well. This is just, so yeah, this is just beautiful. Alright, pass the turn. So I just need them to not find, like, Ulamogs and things like that. We can win. They do have, if they have Wake Root Elemental, they will have infinite mana. But they can't really do anything with it. Alright, so another Growing Rights finds them. Marrowleaf Pixie is officially not my exact list. There's a Marrowleaf Pixie. Alright, so Incubation Druid is going to die to the Spitflame. Legend Rule, they're at Itlamok. Yeah, let's Llanowar Elves kill that. Make that Itlamok not do anything. Spitflame, deal 4. Niv Mizzet, deal 1. Oh, yes. Heartless Act on Marrowleaf Pixie. Start hitting their face, I guess. Ooh, maybe we actually go Dragon's Horde. Let's get that down instead of killing stuff. We probably really do not want them having mana, to be honest. Creature with no counters on it, right there. Another Eat to Extinction if they get a Nissa. Alright, we can't really hit the Paradise Druids, unfortunately. And yeah, they've just had enough. Wow, that was an absolutely disgusting showing for Niv Mizzet right there. So yeah, this is... If it's got Wake Root Elemental in it, what they could do before we murdered everything was tap this for 5, untap it with Wake Root Elemental, which means it taps for 6, and then when they tap and untap, tap and untap, tap and untap, it means they've got infinite mana, which means they can turn all their lands into 5/5s. The other alternative is that they just ramp into Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, with all of their mana. I'm assuming that's maybe what they were doing. The Simic is usually for Kinnan as well, so Kinnan has a 8 mana activation to look at the top 6 cards. Correct me if I'm wrong. 6 cards of the library and put a non-human in play. So yeah, again, it can be Wake Root Elemental or Ulamog. If you want to check out my opponent's deck, it is a lot of fun. It's actually what I used to grind the historic ladder actually in ranked. So yeah, it's a really good deck. The version I play is a little bit jankier, but personally, I find it the more fun version, just because I really like Wake Root Elemental and Itlamok Cradle of the Sun as an infinite combo. I think it's just super fun. But yeah, let's move on to, I guess, one last game. Okay, we're in, and we got just a lot of removal, to be honest. We're nowhere really near casting this Niv Mizzet, but if we find 1 blue mana and a Sarkhan Fireblood, then we can definitely do that. And Spitflame, I'm happy having this in hand as well as casting it on turn 3, just because we can then maybe bring it back with some dragon shenanigans down the line. Alright, so lead off with Blood Crypt, our opponent on the old Breeding Poo. Temur. Could be Wilderness Reclamation, but to be honest, I doubt it. Let's just go Dragon Skull Summit, pass the turn. So we've got Cast Down, we've got Heartless Act to play. I doubt any of them are really going to be that good. This seems like a really bad matchup for us, to be honest. I get the impression it's not a creature deck. Although, I guess Uro is kind of a creature. He dead now. So what would we want? Dragon's Horde would be okay, I guess. Would allow us to have 1 blue mana for Niv Mizzet. A Sarkhan Fireblood, I think, is our best draw. Just to start filling that graveyard. And digging towards that Niv Mizzet. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, I feel like Niv Mizzet's going to be absolutely super disgusting. We'll get rid of Spitflame. Get a Shock. Alright, so if we can top deck a blue land, we've got Niv Mizzet down. And Niv Mizzet against our opponent's deck, if it is the Wilderness Reclamation deck, could do a fair bit of damage. So another Uro goes to the yard. And they pass. Well, we don't have turn 4 Niv. So let's discard and draw. We'll get rid of this Cast Down. Got a Croxer. Guess we'll play a Croxer. There are only 3 cards in the yard, so I don't think me making them discard here is going to get them to that Uro next turn. We got an Eat to Extinction for it anyway. There's a Negate. Yeah, it's got to be Wilderness Reclamation. It's got to be. Okay. Pass the turn. Again, hoping for that blue source. Look at how many instants and sorceries we've seen from them so far. You just know that that Niv Mizzet is going to get some uber value. Another Uro. Good lord. No point killing it. And a land. They are flooding out like crazy, but all they really need is an Expansion Explosion and a Wilderness Reclamation, and they probably win. And Niv Mizzet Peyrune probably not going to do a great deal if that is the case. So 7 cards will Heartless Act the Uro when they bring it back. Yep, fill our own graveyard for our Croxer. Just kill it now before they draw into a Negate or something. Actually, they don't have Negate mana up, and haha. Not an issue. They could have had it, if that's a Negate, but it isn't, it's a land. Alright, here comes Steam Vents. Untapped, Sarkhan, add 2 mana. Blue, blue. Niv Mizzet Peyrune. And yeah, I don't... yeah, there was no way that we could actually get that Spitflame back. We had to have the 3 red here, and then this had to be the blue. And then blue, blue from Sarkhan, so... yeah, pretty good. Alright, so now all we really want to do is not die. 2 to the bottom. Not dying is kind of key here. Every time they play an instant and sorcery, we get to ping them, so they won't be doing that, most likely. I think I'm just going to shock our opponent for an extra card draw. Maybe we can get a Nicol Bolas. Play our land. To be honest, at this stage, I'm getting rid of Dragon Horde. There we go. Then we've got the Eat to Extinction, so we can take care of anything. I guess we'll Croxer, actually. Take that card from them. Let's get that out here. And goodbye, Spitflame. I don't think we're going to need you. It's 4 damage against the only creature we've seen being a 6/6, so... Let's make them get rid of that last card. See what it is. They either lose it, or they use it, and we draw a card. Up to you. It's got to be an instant or sorcery. They've got to be playing around Niv Mizzet here. They've got 2 cards in the graveyard, and it's only Uro, so... Again, Croxer. Not going to be doing much. Alright, so it's an Expansion Explosion. They were saving it for a Wilderness Reclamation. So they're keeping Sarkhan off of ulting, discarding a land, taking some damage. And we hit him for 5. We should be able to win the game next turn. We got the draw for the turn, the loot with Sarkhan. We've got the post-combat removal spells for our own creatures for another double draw on Niv Mizzet. So we ping you. And yeah, absolute utter domination. Wow, this deck seriously is doing a thing. It's, you know what, it's got to be the My Little Pony sleeves. It really has to be. These bring me so much misfortune a lot of the time, but I don't think I ever really use this one. I use this one because it looks most like a dragon. It's my Shivan dragon right here. Yeah, maybe this is my good luck sleeve. Who knows? But yeah, this particular matchup was a pretty good one, short of them just using a single Expansion Explosion to win the game anyway. Everything in their deck that leads up to that kind of combo is really, really good with Niv Mizzet. I don't know if Niv Mizzet's particularly good, since obviously 3 Fairy exists, but if we get Niv Mizzet out using our Sarkhan Fireblood, then, I mean, realistically, it's very easy just to replay Niv Mizzet the turn afterwards and still do something decent anyway. Because we're always ticking up Sarkhan towards this ult as well, so that needs answering if we're up against a 3 Fairy deck at the same time. So, yeah, really, really like this deck. Hopefully you guys do too. If you do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Dragon Tribal is a thing. This is not kind of Dragon Tribal, I guess. It is kind of Grixis Dragons, but there's only like 6 in the deck. I don't know. I just like it. I just really like this deck. I've played it a fair few times in the past, like pre-rotation, like Dominaria era, and it looks pretty similar to this, but most of the dragons that exist in Historic right now are just simply not good enough. Niv Mizzet and Nicol Bolas just end up being the only good ones, to be honest, but yeah. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, you know the drill, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.